Moving along, we have to cover something called as animations. Animations are a very good thing that you should always be doing in your applications. These animations will actually keep the user interacted with the application. If the user sees something moving on the screen or animating on the screen, the user's attention is more focused on your application. So Android supports two types of animations. The first type is called as frame by frame animation, wherein you give multiple frames and these multiple frames are displayed in a quick succession, giving you an illusion of animation. The second animation is called as a tweened animation, wherein you give the starting point, you give the ending point. Android will calculate all the frames in between and animate the object from starting point to ending point. Now, tweened animation is of four types again. These four types will be scale animation, wherein you will resize the object from small size to big size or big size to small size. Second type is called as a translate animation, wherein you will be giving the starting XY coordinate, the ending XY coordinate, and Android will calculate the object position from start to end. Third type of animation is called as a rotate animation, wherein you will be giving the starting angle, the ending angle, and Android will calculate all the angles in between. The fourth type of animation is called as alpha animation or transparency animation. If you want a control to go from fully invisible to fully visible, then you have to do this with the help of a alpha animation in your project. We'll be doing all these five types of animations in the course. So let's start with the first one, that is frame by frame animation. For frame by frame animation, we need a series of images which would be displayed in a succession in order to make an illusion of animation. Whereas for tween animation, we need an XML file. This is the first time where we will be actually coding an XML file by hand. So we need an XML file. The XML file will describe the starting point and the ending point of the animation so that Android can calculate all the middle points of the animation. You have to make a note that all Android animation files will be stored inside the res/anim folder. Okay, that actually makes sense because all the animation XML files are the resources in a project. So we have to store all the resources inside the res/anim folder. Let's perform frame by frame animation. To perform frame by frame animation, we have to first create a project called as frame by frame animation, and we have to add an image view to our frame by frame animations main XML file and name it as img animation. I hope that's very easy. You have to just open the XML file of your project, remove all the controls and just add one control of image view and change the ID of it to img animation. Let's add the frame images. In the DVD, we have given all the frame images to you. You have to just copy those frame images from the DVD to your drawable-hdpi folder. Inside the res folder, you have the drawable-hdpi folder. Just copy all the frame images inside this drawable-hdpi folder. Create a new folder inside the res folder and name it as anim. We have to create an animation XML file. So we have to create that file inside the anim folder. So you create a folder inside the res folder and name it as anim. To create an animation, we have to first create the XML file for the animation. This is called as the controller for the animation. This controller will be named in our case as animation.xml file. So what you have to do is you have to go inside the res folder. Inside res you have the anim folder. Right click on the anim folder and say new Android XML file and give the XML file name as animation.xml. Whenever you will give the animation file, you can give the file name as animation, select the type of file as animation file and click on finish. Okay, let's code the animation. First open the animation XML file and change the root element of that file to animation list. So let's see how do we do that. we have to first change the root folder of the animation XML file to animation list, and we have to copy this complete syntax from the main XML file of a project. Okay, we'll do this thing when we'll be actually coding this animation in the Let's Do It section. So for now, just understand that we have changed the base element of the XML file to animation-list, and we have to add some items to this XML file. To add the item, we have to say item Android drawable. That indicates that we have to add a drawable item. The drawable item is located inside the drawable folder. So you have to get the reference of the drawable folder. This reference is obtained with the help of the @ symbol. So you have @drawable slash inside the drawable folder. You have to have animation underscore 00031. This is the name of the image file that I have added. So in our case, we have added multiple image files. Out of these multiple image files, the name of the first file is animation underscore 00031. And all these image files are present inside the drawable folder. So we are saying Android drawable equals to @drawable. The meaning of @drawable is reference the drawable folder. Inside the drawable folder, go to animation underscore 00031, and you have to display each drawable for some particular duration. So we will say Android duration equals to 30. This indicates that display this animation drawable for 30 milliseconds. That is, the first file, which is the animation 0031 file, will be there just for 30 milliseconds. Let's add reference to the second file, third file, and so on. Okay, you can add this for more frames, and then you have to close the animation list tag. So this was the starting tag of animation list, this was the ending tag of animation list, and you have added multiple frames in between. So far so good. We have done what? We have created a project on Android with the name frame by frame demo. Inside this project, we have added some animation XML files inside the res/anim folder. We have added all the drawables inside the drawable folder, and we have written some code inside the animation XML file. After this, we have to start with the Java code of this. Java code will actually tell you when the animation should start. Whenever we click on the image view, the animation should start at that point in time. So we have to write the Java code for that. So in the frame by frame animation.java file, we have to write the following code. We have to first take the reference of the image view. So we'll say final image view img equals to image view, find view by id, r.id.img animation. This syntax is quite mechanical. Whatever control you want, you have to just give the name of the control over here. The object name equals to the control name again, find view by id, r.id. the id of the control that you have mentioned in the XML file. Then we have to first set the XML file as the background resource for this image view. You have to first understand why are we doing this. Whenever we'll be playing the animation, before playing the animation, we have to make sure that all the images are stacked one behind the other on the image view. For that, we have to say img.set background resource in bracket the name of the XML file which is your resource. So in our case, inside the res folder, we had the anim folder. Inside the anim folder, we had the XML file named as frame by frame or animation. You can have your XML file name over here. So you will say img, that is the image view, dot set background resource inside the res folder, the anim folder, and the name of the XML file. Okay, so this will make sure that whatever frames you had, you have added all the frames one behind the other inside the image view. Now let's start the animation whenever someone clicks on the image view. So we will say img.set onClick listener in bracket new onClick listener. This is quite obvious. We have already done this thing with the button. And we'll see inside the onClick. Now we have set the background of the image view to the animation XML file. So whenever someone clicks on the image view, we must get the background and play the background. Okay. So what we'll say animation drawable anim equals to animation drawable the image view dot get background. Okay. Over here we had done the image view dot set background. So we'll do image view dot get background. This will get the background of the animation drawable. Then we'll just play this background by saying anim dot start. Okay. So what this did is this first set the background of the image view to the frame by frame XML file. Then it got the background from the image view in the form of a animation drawable, because the background was not a simple drawable, it was an animation drawable. We got that background and we then say start animation to start the animation. With this, you will be able to actually perform a simple frame by frame animation with the help of the image view. So let's do it in actual practice and see it in action. Okay, let's do it for the frame by frame animation application. Go to File, New, Android Application Project. Give the name as frame by frame. Give the package name as com.fitech. Give the build SDK as Android 2.3.1. Uncheck, next, next. Give title as frame by frame. Click on finish. It will create a project frame by frame. Now what we have to do is we have to first add some frames to this project. To add the frames in your DVD, there is a resources folder where you will be able to get all the frames available. So select all the frames, right click, copy them, come to your Eclipse, inside drawable HDPI, right click and say paste. As you'll be able to see, all the frames will be pasted over here. Okay, I'll just give you a look of how the animation will work. If you can see, if you will just scroll through the frames one by one, you will be able to get an illusion of an animation. Okay, this is what we have to perform on the actual Android device. So let's start doing that. First of all, we want to remove this hello world. Right click and say delete. Change the layout type to linear layout and add an image view over here. Go to images and media and add the image view onto the layout and say OK. Now I want the width of this to match parent and height of this to match parent, because I wanted to fill the complete screen of Android. I want to change the ID of this to IMG animation. You can give any ID. I just prefer it to call IMG animation. And I do not want any front image over here. So let me go to the main XML file, right click, source, clean up and say OK. And there is a source over here. Let me just remove the source from here and make it blank, so that you just have image view, IMG animation, layout width and layout height. So whenever you will be completing with this project, you will be getting the image view like this. Okay. Now I want to add the Android animation file. So I'll right click on RES, say new, folder, give the folder name as anim, ANIM. That indicates it's an animation folder. Right click on the anim folder, say new Android XML file and give the animation file name as frame by frame and press finish. It will add the new animation frame by frame XML file. First of all, you have to understand that this file is currently a normal XML file. It is not an Android XML file. To make it an Android XML file, double click on the activity main, go to the XML of it and copy this XML NS from here. Copy it from here and paste it inside frame by frame after the set text and before the greater than sign. Okay, the set starts from here and you have this complete syntax which indicates that this file is not a normal XML file. This file is a Android XML file. Many of you might copy and paste it like this outside Okay, this will not work, this will give you an error. So the actual syntax is to copy it inside this bracket. You have to change the root element from set to animation dash list. You don't have to give animation underscore list, it should be animation dash list. If the starting is animation dash list, ending should be animation dash list. In the animation list, you have to have items. So I'll say item Android colon drawable equals to. Now I have to take the reference of the drawable from the drawable folder. So I'll say double quote @drawable, that indicates go to the drawable folder. Inside the drawable folder, I have to pick the first animation file. The first animation file name is animation 00031. So let me give it over here, animation underscore 00031. You have to be very careful with the name of this because this name is very essential. You don't have to give an extension over here because Android will by default take the extension from the drawable folder. Then you have to say Android colon duration equals to, say, in double quotes 30. This indicates that this will run for 30 milliseconds. That is, one frame will be displayed only for 30 milliseconds. Once you are done, you can just copy and paste it now. Once, twice, thrice, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is for the first 10 frames. I'll just give it animation 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So I have added the 10 frames. I have frames up till 63 over here. So let me just copy and paste that complete 10 frames from 31 to 40, then from 41 to 50 over here, 51 to 60, and the next 3 frames after this. Okay, I have just copied and pasted the same syntax 33 times. I'll make it 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Then I have 49 and I have 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and then I have 60. Give 61, 62, and 63. Okay, so I have all the frames in picture. So far so good. We have added all the frames inside the drawable folder, and we have added a new animation XML file with the name frame by frame XML, and we have added an image view to the main layout. Let's go to the source of this and add some code to start the animation. You remove the on create options menu from here. Let's start the animation over here. First of all, the step 1 is always constant. Get the references of the controls. So let's get the references. I'll say final. I have just only one control, that is image view. img animation equals to image view find view by id r.id.img animation, and I have to set the background of this. So I'll say set the background of this animation control. So I'll say img animation dot set background resource. Let me set the background resource of this to be r dot anim dot frame by frame. As you can see, R indicates all the resources. So resources are inside the RES folder. Inside the RES folder, I have the anim folder. That is why we have the anim. And inside that we have frame by frame. So we have frame by frame. Then I'll write the on click listener for this control. So I'll say img animation dot set on click listener, new on click listener. Let's import the on click listener from here. Now over here, what we have to do is we have to first get the background and play it. So inside the on click, we'll be adding the code to actually start the animation. First of all, we have to understand that the animation drawable is not a normal drawable, it's a drawable which can animate. So I have to first say animation drawable anim equals to img animate dot get background. See, the get background function will return you the drawable that is used for the background. So I'll just say get background, but I don't want a normal drawable, I want a animation drawable. So I'll say animation drawable img animation dot get background, then I'll say anim dot start. As soon as I'll say anim.start, the animation will actually start happening on the screen. So just right click on the frame by frame, run as Android application. It will launch the application on the actual device so that you can see it. Okay. Can you see the animation working? No, because we haven't clicked on it yet. Just click on it and you will be able to see it in actual practice.